If the ever-changing and fast-paced evolution of technology and business has you wishing you had the right-sized partner to guide you through your IT landscape, it's time for you to meet the experts at YASH Technologies and C5MI. Tech Talk Managing the New Normal with YASH Technologies and C5MI connects you with the best business experts who are making this happen for companies all across the world. We delve into global business challenges, from SAP S4, managed services, and the digital workplace, to live factory, infrastructure, and much more. Tune into the Business Channel to hear today's top technology industry experts share their insights on how companies like yours are partnering with YASH Technologies and C5MI to transform their IT landscapes. Welcome to a revolutionary hour of business technology talk. This is Tech Talk, Managing the New Normal, with YASH Technologies and C5MI. You'll hear from the experts with the know-how to revolutionize and transform your business for a truly efficient, actionable technology transformation during both prosperous and challenging times. Now, here's your host and moderator, Bonnie D. Graham.
Let's get Derek Dyer here. Derek, I've got you in speaker view, so come on, and why don't you introduce yourself a little bit? What are you going to be talking about? Welcome, Derek.
Hey, Bonnie. Great to be back. It's hard to believe it's been 1 week, but this is becoming a habit for us. It's really good to see you again, and I love these series. I have the fortunate job of heading up the SAP practice for YASH Americas, also work with Marty on the C5MI side. And I'm going to talk about one of YASH's foundational service lines today, really in the context of this new normal, and that's around SAP S4. And Bonnie, as we talked about last week, we just got right to the point about the gorilla in the room. And that gorilla in the room is obviously the COVID pandemic. And I just want to share some setup thoughts here of what we're seeing today in the marketplace that's just been really magnified or exacerbated because of the current situation. So anybody that's been in IT, I've been a lifelong IT professional, it's always hard to get budget approved. It's the world we live in. And today, that scrutiny on spend is just really, really intense. And for those projects that we're seeing actually getting approved, this concept of time to value has become gold. Mm-hmm. So there's a very interesting thing that's, once again, it's always there, but it's just become completely magnified in the current environment. So we're going to talk about that today in the context of SAP S4. And the other thing that is very, very interesting is we're seeing a slowdown, in some cases, maybe even a stop of current projects, because companies just don't know what tomorrow could bring in this new normal we're going to talk about. But Bonnie, at the same time, we're also seeing this stark reality, this awareness, this keen understanding is we have to do something different, this need for transformation. So we're seeing this as a very interesting paradox that's happening at the same time. And it's being, once again, just completely magnified by COVID. So we're going to unpack that a little bit today. And I'm excited to be able to talk about this in the context of SAP S4.
Thank you. I just want to say I appreciate the use of the word paradox, and this is something that companies in every industry, not just manufacturers, whatever they're manufacturing, have been dealing with for years, is what do we do dipping our toe in the water of digital transformation? How fast do we do it? How much do we invest in it? When is the time to jump in? How deeply should we go? Should we go to the cloud? Should we outsource information? What should we do with our IT people? And those who didn't are probably sitting there saying, oh, I wish we had, because those who did are going to find that they will recover, retool, reprioritize, recover faster because they have that transformation already in progress or behind them, and they're there. So Derek, tell us more. I appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely. And if I do my job well today, I'm going to set the stage for Marty. And this goes back to what you shared in the introduction regarding America 2.0, that concept of transformation. And we always try to look at things a positive light, that good things do come out of bad situations. And we do believe that for all the right reasons, this will accelerate transformation and be the catalyst for this. And Bonnie, if I'm not mistaken, you've got a little bit of history with SAP and some knowledge background, but if you're okay, I would like to just jump in and do a little bit of a level set for the listeners and viewers here to talk about SAP S4 before I jump into the meat here.
Please, absolutely do. Tell people exactly what we're talking about. I know there's a transfer from what you're going to be talking about to S4, and there are some controversies there, and there's some challenges. So let's have a real level set from you, Derek.
Yep, absolutely. And SAP S4 HANA, or we'll call it just S4 today, is SAP's newest enterprise resource planning, or ERP, offering, and it's the successor to their highly successful ECC platform. And SAP S4 is a great solution, and SAP sometimes gets a knock in the marketplace, but I really think they've hit a home run with S4. Just the simplicity of the functionality and the user interface. Those of you that are SAP experts in background, you understand the wonderful SAP GUI and how hard that was to navigate with the transaction codes. That goes away with a much easier way to use it. And the embedded functionality they're bringing into S4 with analytics, it's in the core now, and it has evolved over the last couple of years. And the current version is something that I'm a big fan of. I think SAP has hit a home run with S4, and this concept of intelligent enterprise, I think, is a brilliant one. And I'm going to dig into that. And what I think is most interesting, Bonnie, is as I thought about today, S4 kind of sits on both ends of this paradox. So many companies are in this, this cycle of always implementing ERP, and those are some of those things that might have been paused or stopped because of the scrutiny on budget and unknown of when we're going to go live type of things. But at the same time, as you begin to tie together what I'm going to talk about with Marty's talking about, S4 is also really an incredible engine for this transformation. So I see S4 kind of sitting on both ends of that paradox, which makes it pretty interesting. And I think we'll talk through that today about how we really look at that from a YASH technology perspective, is both ends of that paradox.
Okay, so let's go back to our theme of the new normal. Derek, is it really going to be the new normal, the new unnormal, the new, is there ever going to be a normal again? How do you see it? And I know you have 3 pillars that you want to talk about for the SAP S4 implementation. So why don't you dive in?
Absolutely, Bonnie. And your guess is as good as mine on the new normal. I think that my assessment would be companies may not ever go back to how they used to be. We talked about the impact of remote work and all of this, but when it comes down to it, companies are going to need ERP systems like SAP S4 to run their operations. It doesn't matter if you're in retail or distribution or manufacturing. So ERP is here, and the pandemic, once again, I think is ultimately, once we get past this initial shock, is going to accelerate the value proposition associated with products like S4. So as you mentioned, we talk about pain points. I mean, that's kind of been the construct that we're going through for these sessions. And I always try to weave these pain points into more of a positive outlook versus just focusing on the pain. So what we talked about from an SAP S4 perspective, I'm going to look at 3 distinct pillars. The first one is around, I call it a dirty little secret. And what a lot of companies, a lot of systems integrators, a lot of IT service providers don't necessarily always openly share with the companies they're providing services to is this incredible toolbox of goodies that SAP, the company, gives partners like YASH Technologies to actually better implement their software. And these have existed for a long time, and some have been really good, some maybe not so much. But the tools that SAP is offering now for their partners with S4 are at a whole different level. And you'll hear buzzwords in the industry like accelerators or best practices, pre-configured solutions, and those all have been around, for a long, long time. But I'm happy to say that one of the pain points that we typically deal with is the complexity and the duration and all of these things that make these implementations so long and hard and difficult. And now with SAP taking so much body of knowledge over 48 years and putting it into their core product, there's less and less need for companies to really go out and change the solution. So really being able to adopt the standard functionality, and more importantly, leveraging these tools that SAP gives. And we look at this from a YASH perspective as really a catalyst as to the second pillar here, which is this business value. And I've been doing SAP for over 20 years. I don't think I've ever been begged to put it in, nor have I ever been, thanked when it was over. It's just the reality of SAP. But this concept now of really leveraging the toolkit that SAP gives partners, this is all about business value. And typically SAP implementations sometimes are viewed as this massive IT burden, something I have to do because IT says I must do it. But ultimately, with this new age, with the S4, this business value creation is real. And I think, Bonnie, this is even more important now with this new normal. This can't be viewed as just another exercise of IT. This is all about implementing SAP to help a business run their operations better.
Okay. I appreciate, I think everybody does, when you mentioned the dirty little secret and the fact that things probably were more difficult than they needed to be, more involved, more delayed, more complicated. And I can hear people in the audience, whether they're listening on the radio, Derek, or here in the room saying, finally. So I'm glad to hear the good news that people, I'm just going to say it, companies with integrity will use the tools to make the installation and implementation as smooth and clean and usable and effective as possible without a lot of fluff or extra added on features they don't need. So Derek, keep talking. We have another pillar here, and I see it and I like it.
The last pillar ties it all together, and then I'll quickly transition into the so what of all of this.
Yes.
It all comes down to what YASH Technologies, what companies like us can do to help customers go live faster. And take us all the way back to the beginning. I talked about the time to value. And right now, just because the IT budgets are not going to open up like floodgates when this clears. It's not going to be a flip of the switch. So time to value and velocity is absolutely key. So when you weave these things together, the robustness of what SAP has done with S4, leveraging the best practices and the tools that SAP gives partners, it's all about flipping the switch so the company can begin using the software faster. And I firmly believe, Bonnie, I believe this, that the days of these 24, 36-month nightmarish implementations that overrun budget, everything's customized because every company's different. I'm hopeful and pseudo-optimistic from a YASH perspective that those days are behind us. We can really do what SAP is intended to do, which is leverage the functionality out of the box, facilitate as many business processes with standard capabilities, and get that value prop brought up front faster for the companies. I think it's a huge, huge opportunity for us. So those are the three pillars, Bonnie.
Okay. Now, Derek, I remember the days when we were working on how to put together a value prop for companies I worked for. And we all, it has these features and it has these benefits and this is wonderful and everybody will be smiling and everybody will go home happy and they'll sleep better. And then somebody would say, so what? So what? What's in it for me? So what? What will be different? What is the bottom line so what that you can answer that will make sense? And there are no more so what's after that. So I remember the exercise of drilling down and drilling down. And so you told me you're going to explain what is the so what here. So Derek, let's have it.
Yeah, so the so what is tied back to the message of all of this, the new normal. But ultimately, the one takeaway that I want to give before I transition over to my good friend Marty here is speed is going to win. Speed has to win, and all the elements are there to facilitate the velocity. And I'm thrilled that YASH is in position to be able to help companies do that better. So velocity to me is absolutely going to be the key to the game. And as I like to say, let YASH be your gas pedal. And you take this back to the paradox. And I think it's just the perfect way to transition this off is the basic plumbing of IT for most companies is going to require ERP. And that has kind of been the thing that's been paused. But this stark awareness, this new normal saying that we've got to do something different. And that's what I'm excited about is SAP S4 is that foundation, that catalyst to do what Marty's going to share with the group now is that engine for something that we call Live Factory and this digital transformation to help manufacturing companies run better.
Thank you for tuning in to Tech Talk, Managing the New Normal with YASH Technologies and C5MI. To keep the conversation going, tweet your questions and comments to YASH_tech or email john.gretter@yash.com. That's john.gretter@yash.com. We look forward to hearing from you.